Welcome everyone to Pine Grove News Live. It's 6 o'clock, right on the dot here on the East Coast. We just went through a little bit of a thunderstorm. News is going to be short tonight because of that. I mean, it was like 15, 20 minutes of my search time, shutting down the computer, hoping I don't get some lightning. But we had tornado warnings come over the TV. Um, it happens here, but it happens maybe once every few years. And actually, one time out of 19 that I've been here, there was actually a tornado touchdown north of us in Springfield, Massachusetts, 12 miles away. Yeah, rode right over the interstate, right off the river onto the highway. Yeah, so had to take it seriously. But right now I can turn my light off. The sun's back out like any other summer thunderstorm. But don't normally, like I said, get tornado warnings. But everything's a-okay. Just another day. Well, hmm, well, first of all, it's Wednesday. And thank God we're heading in towards the end of the week. I will probably be on vacation in 2 weeks. But I hope to still do some kind of news while I'm up in the mountains. We will see. I will be bringing my laptop and the Bibles and maybe my wife even for a couple days. I plan on going for a week only because, well, I'm going to spend some time alone with the Lord, and that's what I want to do. And nothing like, going in the off season to some campground and rent a cabin. And I'm looking very much forward to it. But yeah, my wife she's already been on vacation with her sister. Now she's going again in October with all her sisters. There's 4 total. But anyway, so guess what? Guess what's been going on today? What's the talk? Of course, y'all know what the talk is. I got some news, but a lot of it is just stuff you've already heard. Probably going to give you one last take on this Dorian. A lot of people, like I said, are talking about it, and you got Florida Maquis, you got Never Lose Truth, you got Mike Morales, World Watchman, myself, and whoever else that I've come across briefly talk about that hurricane. Yeah, I don't know. First of all, let's go look at what's going on. Well, let me see if I'm live on YouTube. I'm gonna check out that feed. Looks like that we are. And we're up and running. You want to read the articles, watch the articles, whatever. We are live at YouTube under Pine Grove News, PGN Live. That's the channel. So let's go look at the National Hurricane Center. Okay, we're also going to look at, just give you a brief description of what's going on. I mean, heck, there are three storms in the West Pacific. There are, you still got Juliet, Cat 2 hurricane there in the East Pacific. You got Typhoon Ling Ling moving at 7 miles per hour. That's the West Pacific. And then you got the Atlantic that also has, of course, Dorian, who's still going. And you got Thunderstorm Gabriel and Thunderstorm Fernand. Yeah, it's very, very active out there. very active. So let's that's 12E. That's the Central Pacific. This is a little different than AccuWeather. And then here for the Eastern North Pacific, this is Juliet. Still a Cat 2, I believe, unless it has changed. See, maximum sustained winds, 85 knots, 100 miles per hour. So that's got to be a Cat 2 still. And the Atlantic. Okay, the Atlantic looks pretty busy right now. This is Fernand. I guess it turned into tropical depression now. Obviously, you can see that it's made landfall in Mexico. Still at 35 miles per hour, still moving at 9. And then we got disturbance, chance of cyclone formation. That is 60% for formation there. That was also north, right off the coast, where New Jersey is, I guess, and North Carolina. So it was up here earlier this week. I thought that that may have been something that they were doing to hold Dorian down. But apparently we didn't need to do that, right? Because it stopped right on the Bahamas and just spun around 0 mile per hour. It was 1 miles per hour for like a day. And in any case, I mean, there's a lot of people saying that the eye was too perfect. I mean, it did do some weird things. It really did. And, 2 days ago, we did a report. I did a report about, I took you to each one of those sites that people normally get, either some kind of tracking or live wind speed and stuff like that. There was no real, the highest wind speed I think we reached was, what was it, like an 80, 85? So it was a Cat 1, according to those winds, it didn't go above a Cat 1. And that's what a lot of people were talking about. That, they can give you a picture, just like anything else. I mean, they can manipulate stuff. Don't know why they would just sit this thing out there like they did 2 times last year. And there were people who were surprised about this one stopping at 0, not moving at all. Where were they last year when 2 hurricanes stopped right off the coast of Florida twice? And you know what? I've heard some crazy stories about that too. Florida Marquis. He uses Google Earth. Go use Google Earth Pro, actually. I use Google Pro, and I don't remember paying for it, but I might have. Florida Marquis says that, he had to pay for it. But anyway, in Google Earth Pro, it will bring you under the water. Remember I mentioned that maybe it has something to do with the Bermuda Triangle, right? And I don't know exactly where that is. I thought it was out here somewhere, triangle. But Florida Marquis, in one of his last videos, Google Earth Pro, and went into the water and found what looked like to be a very large pyramid. Maybe there was even 2. Ended up being, there's a big mound down there. And I've never seen anybody, mention that before. He does this a lot. He searches, he spends a lot of time searching for these things, finding different things under the water, especially in the Antarctic. But anyway, so that was pretty strange to have that hurricane sitting on that one spot that has supposedly pyramid-shaped mounds under the water. Very strange. I mean, that makes sense now. And, if you know about pyramids, a lot of people think that maybe one time they were actually like generators, like furnaces. You ever think, remember the story of Daniel? I mean, Daniel, and I think Abraham too was also put in a furnace for defying the king back then. And I didn't know that until recently. Abraham, Daniel, well, not Daniel. Daniel wasn't, but the other three were put in the furnace. Now, if there were furnaces back then, I mean, where are these furnaces? Where are the furnaces? Is there any, ancient buildings or something like that around that may have been a furnace of some type? Remember they took the mightiest men to take Daniel's three brothers in Christ, and I can't for the life of me remember their names right now. Meshach, Abednego, and I forget the other one. But yeah, they were put in a furnace, a fiery furnace that was so hot that when two other men prior to that tried to push them in, burnt up just opening the door. And so they sent the mighty man up there to do it, and he did it, and he might have got killed too. But not the three that went in there, of course. You know that story. So where are the remnants of these furnaces? Some people believe that the pyramids are these furnaces. Well, I believe that it is. I haven't had anybody else come out and say that, but they've come out and said that things like, well, it might have been some kind of generator, some kind of electrical plant, for electricity. Because you remember there are pictographs in Egypt in some of these pyramids or tunnels or whatever where they showed these people holding big light bulbs, look like light bulbs with filaments inside of them. And you've heard about the Baghdad battery, right? I mean, they had batteries back then. So, a lot of people have said that it wasn't the Egyptians who built the pyramids. It may have been people prior to the Egyptians, before the pharaohs. And remember, Joseph, one of the 12, he was the first pharaoh. Did you know that? Did you know that Joseph became the first pharaoh? Yep. That would be in Jasher. Can't think of the chapter right now. 6 to 10, I don't know. I have to look it up. But it's in Jasher. Very sure that it is. But in any case, so yeah, Dorian, spending a week just burning and churning. So, it was a Cat 5, it was a Cat 4, it's now a Cat 2, okay, and plans to hug the coast for the rest of the week and hit us by Friday, I believe, in 2 days. Long trip for 2 days, right, when it spent most of its time right here. But anyways, another point I want to make about this, besides the fact that this thing looked like it was steered in some places, looked like it was going to barrel right into Florida and then go off into the Gulf and strengthen. But no, it stopped at the Bahamas and totally devastated it. I'll show you the pictures. Right here. Going to play it at half speed because it goes pretty quick, it's pretty jumpy. But here, look. This is what happened to the Bahamas. Remember, Puerto Rico was going to get hit too. It was a dead-on hit for them, and the thing jogged up and around Puerto Rico. That is kind of strange in itself. So here's the video, drone footage of the damage from the Guardian. Let me put this up. Okay. Now, the other thing I want to mention about this while you're watching this video, it's only about a minute and a half. Well, if I slowed it down, it's probably 3. What I want to mention is this, is that they're only saying that 5 people died here. Look at the destruction. Just look at it. Most of those boats that were out, they probably were there. I don't know. They're, yeah, you're gonna find other boats upside down. But most of these, a lot of these buildings are just rubble. I mean, some of these places in the Bahamas had blue tarps on them, you know, from I guess it was Hurricane Matthew 1 or 2 years ago. There's the Bahamas for you. Look how far inland. Oh, there's a lot of water. So then I'm going to go show you this. Okay, 5 people died in so far. They've come out and said in the Bahamas. Not talking about anywhere else. But this thing, this article I found. This is from Newsweek. I wanted to go look up the National Guard because there was another idea that people were, you know, throwing around out there. You know, the National Guard's being called out there before the storm even hits. People are being, you know, mandatory evacuations were going on, and way before the storm ever got there. This is not the first time. I don't know what they want with Florida, or maybe it's the islands they're taking out one at a time. I don't know. Maybe the UK will give it up, and US will take them over. I don't know. Whatever happened to Puerto Rico becoming a state? That's not happened yet, has it? I don't know. I haven't heard any news from it. But the National Guard, this is what I got when I looked up the National Guard, because I wanted to find out where they were, why they were there. Why is our National Guard in Florida, in a place where hasn't, I mean, the day that they, you know, the Dorian was off the shore, I was looking up all the, you know, Miami and I guess it was Fort Worth, I'm not sure, video cams. And, you know, they had a little rain, a little wind, but most of the time it was sunny. People were eating outside. But this title, National Guard, NorthComm, FEMA to East Coast. The time to act is now to prepare for Hurricane Dorian. And this is going to tell you, it says right here, the 5 deadliest hurricanes in U.S. history. You know why? Because now Dorian, supposedly, at least according to the Bahamas, is the worst hurricane in history. But here are the 5 deadliest hurricanes in U.S. history. Okay. We're going to play that without the music. So just going to be September 8th, 1900. Let's see, between 8,000 and 12,000 people were killed in a surprise hurricane. Okay, over 10,000 were left homeless and 35.4 million in damages. Over 10,000 were left homeless. The wind speed gusted over 135 miles per hour. Now they're saying the one Dorian gusted to over 220 miles per hour. Remember, they were trying to change that into a Cat 6, but you know the scale didn't go up that high. So, what are the other ones? Hurricane Maria, Puerto Rico, September 20th, 2017. You all know what happened there. Maria pummeled Puerto Rico as a Category 4 hurricane. Widespread devastation, power outage that lasted for months. They wiped that island off. 2,975 people were killed. I didn't know the number was that high. And that's according to the island's official report. 2,975 people. Puerto Rico's death toll from Hurricane Maria climbs. The official death toll remains widely contested. Here we go. There's all this headlines from Puerto Rico. The Okeechobee hurricane. I don't even remember that. Of course, that was in 1928. These are the 5 deadliest now, okay? That's that's the title. So I never heard of this. 2,500 people were killed in the storm that swept over Puerto Rico and then Palm Springs, Florida, flooding Lake Okeechobee. Now just remember, this is the five deadliest. Due to more than 18 inches of rainfall in less than a day, the storm washed away numerous homes and buildings. Hurricane Katrina, the Gulf Coast, August 2005. 14 years already. Wow. 1,833 people were killed when Hurricane Katrina hit. Louisiana, Mississippi, Florida, and Alabama. Its historic flooding topped levees and devastated New Orleans. We know about that. Displacing hundreds of thousands of Southerners. And this one, Caminada hurricane, 1893, of course, wasn't around for that one either. These are the five deadliest, remember that. Also known as the Great October Storm, the massive hurricane, killed at least 1,100 people and wiped out an entire fishing community. Only one home was spared on the island. My point being here, okay, these were Cat 4s. I believe Katrina was a Cat 4. I don't think any of them were Cat 5s. I may have missed that, but the point is 5 people. Why are they lying about that? It has to be more than that. Look at Puerto Rico. It's almost a mirror image of Puerto Rico and what happened in the Bahamas. Look at the damage for yourself, unless it's been fabricated. I mean, let's be realistic. Only 5 people? We're almost, widespread devastation. It just seems like, I don't know. And there are other videos, that talk about some particular, Mike Morales, you go to his, I believe he's the one that had that, some kind of blue or dark blue beam that was being shot off the Florida coast into the storm. And remember now, that was a pretty small hurricane. It was a small hurricane. Juliet was 2 to 3 times the size of Dorian. But it was a Cat 5 and should have been a Cat 6 if it was on scale. And it's not done yet. Why did everyone have to leave way before the storm got there? Yes, I know, logistics, all this other stuff. You got to make sure people are out of there, but serious? Let's just think about things. We're in a war. They got weather warfare going on that you would not believe. Did somebody put this thing against us? Did the actual satellites actually give us a fake image? Okay, projected this fake image? While under this fake image, the National Guard went to Florida. And what were they doing in Florida? People are gone. So what are they doing in Florida? Somebody answer me that question. If there's nobody there, I'm sure some people refuse to leave. I would have refused to leave. What are they doing? I want to point you to, I don't know if you remember this, it was last year sometime. Remember, there was a town that they shut down because they thought that, or one Chinese spy was on the loose. There was some kind of military complex there, but they emptied the whole town for days. Why are they emptying these towns before things ever happen to them? Just from threats. They're conditioning you. I think that they went and placed something down there. I think that they're setting it up for something. I think that they've set up the West Coast. I think they're setting up the Southern East Coast. And we just got to be prepared. So that's where we are with that so far. And yeah, And we're still expecting what, 37-foot waves tomorrow on the 5th, going up there. And these are scientists from Copernicus Marine Environment Monitoring Service. That's what they said yesterday. And we're supposed to be, get a little rush from Dorian on Friday. And who knows? I don't know how fast it's moving right now. I did do updates at 3:30 for these things, and Dorian was still only moving at 10 miles per hour. I mean, if you watch the mainstream media and a lot of this coverage, they have blown these things so out of proportion. You got people standing on the beach and they're talking about, oh, the surfers shouldn't be on there surfing because this is terrible. The winds and the what do you call that? The storm surge. Okay, yeah, the storm surge is way up. Yeah, it's very dangerous out here, and they just built these things up like that. And yes, there was storm surge, and it just looked like a typical storm coming in, like a regular tropical storm, a depression or just a storm, for Pete's sake. I don't think there was actually a hurricane per se, at least not one as powerful as they said it was. Just come on. 5, well, I'm not going to say 5 because that's not true. 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 sites that I went to, all the winds, the wind speeds, none of them above 85 miles per hour. Most of them down in the 20s. I mean, that's almost a typical day. But yes, I mean, the storm was still 100 miles offshore over there in Miami, Fort Worth. Heck, but according to satellite images, they were still receiving the backward bands from the hurricane. And it has grown in size. So it's just been pumped up when it was down there spinning around, doing nothing but spinning and dumping water. I think that it was pumped up by this, whatever machine they got down there in Florida, and they pumped it up, made it bigger, filled it up with more rain, and they're going to send it all along the East Coast. If you don't think that they can do that now, then you probably should go be listening to somebody else's news. Because they definitely have weapons for weather. I've seen many of them. I've seen them make clouds from the ground, and the clouds rise up, filled with water. It's just hydrogen and oxygen. 2 hydrogen molecules and oxygen. That's all you need to make water. Put it in a vapor, put it in a machine. It's, there you have clouds. I've seen them make clouds over and over and over again. I've heard about HARP. I've seen HARP in Alaska. I've heard of them having these things all over the place, including other countries having these things. I know that they studied and made plasma balls, okay, balls of plasma, and can shoot them off the atmosphere and have it come down somewhere else. I know that they can do these things. Well, what is it that we don't know can they do, right? They're not going to tell you. There's all kinds of agendas out there. There's everything that is out there. The things that are building up to a climatic coming of Jesus Christ is almost here. It's going to get much worse. We could talk about all that other stuff, about tribulation. Who's going to go in tribulation? When is tribulation going to be? Or the rapture, I mean. We're all going through tribulation of one sort or another. I think we've reached what Matthew calls the times of sorrows, which is, travail, like birth pains of a woman. That's what Jesus told us that we would be going through. You know how they go, women, a little painful at first, spaced out a little, and then they come more frequently and with more pain, right? And, just before the baby's born, the pain is extreme. And you know about that. I've seen my wife go through it, it's just, and that we hope that we won't have to go through, but what if we do? What if we do have to go through it? What if that is our tribulation? And then when the Antichrist comes, then I think maybe some of us will be gone or not. We don't really know. All we need to do is keep our hope alive, keep our faith alive. We're not in control of that. The Lord gives us both of them. The Lord is our hope. He is the finisher of our faith. And He's everything else. He is, the King of Peace. He is, love. Of course, not the love we know, agape love. Some of us, are getting a little touch of what His love is. And it changes people. Changed me. I know a lot of people were changed, and will change you. And you won't fear these things. You won't. They won't matter. As a matter of fact, you'll be looking up, waiting for your rapture, waiting for you to meet Jesus in the air. One way or another. Anyways, we could talk about those other things, but let's not be, fearful of these things. I mean, a lot of people are under pressure for some of the smallest things. In my opinion, of course, there was a time probably when I was very nervous and the like. I remember when I couldn't leave the house, that I had anxiety attacks. That was when I was home for a couple of years from an injury. I remember all those things, and He's taken them all away. I still go through plenty of tribulation and trials. I don't know what I would do if I didn't. There are some periods where, a couple of weeks go by. I mean, I have peace about everything. And then I start worrying, well, how come I'm not going through a trial again? And I think about those things, and then He says, well, there you go. And you do it all over again. I welcome them. I welcome because I know that I'm not there yet. There's a lot of work. He's doing the work. There's a lot of work. And if I wasn't going through trials, like I said, I would, probably worry just a little bit. But I don't think you should worry, because that just means that there's less work for you, that needs to be done for you. That you're pretty close, I guess. I don't think we'll ever be close enough until we actually meet Him in the air, and then we'll be close. Anyway. People, Satan started out being the what do you call it? The author of the lie, the deception that he gave to Eve, and the lie. And he's basically in charge of this place. So there is going to be lies and chaos and darkness, just like there is. And it can get much worse. And it is becoming worse every day. But you don't have to worry. You don't have to fear it. You don't have to worry about it. In any case, we could talk about that another time. I'd like to talk about the things you can do. I mean, besides pray. I mean, praying is the most important thing for anyone to be doing. Praying is a conversation with God. It is a relationship, and you express that in your prayers, whether in words of thought or outspoken. We need to pray all the time. That'll change it too. Anyway, I'm sorry about that. I know you came for the news, and these things we just have to, ask for discernment, ask to see the lies, that you only want to see the truth, and ask the Holy Spirit to help you do that. It's not you that's going to do it, it's going to be the Holy Spirit, but you can get an idea. Anyway, I heard that Mr. Trump is in the process, I heard from World Watchman, in the process of creating this kind of social system like the Chinese have when it comes to people buying guns. Besides the red flag law, I mean, this is part of the law. This is part of his idea of coming out with this thing about social credit score type thing. I don't know exactly how it works. I just heard about it today, and that's not good news. Don't know much good news on this side anyway. Amazon tests Whole Foods payment system that uses hands as ID. We know that other people, there are a lot of people out there taking this chip, for their job or whatever, just to convenience of it all. They're doing it. You're going to see a lot of people do it. Please remember Psalms 91. I know you may have your Psalms. I mean, Psalms are good. Just go there, find something that you can. I just I kind of almost live by Psalms 91. I go there, many times, remind myself that we're going to see people falling, to our left and to our right. We're going to fall. We're going to die. We're going to be dead. And the Lord promises in that psalm that nothing will come to you. You're covered under the blood of Jesus Christ. You're a believer. And though I don't call myself a Christian. I don't call myself anything like that, because there's just no way that I can think of myself as being Christ-like in any way, fashion, form, whatever. No, I strive to be Christ-like, but I am not at all anywhere close to being Christ-like. I'm just a flawed human being trying to stumble his way through life here, in this world, while relying on the peace that I get from the Lord and the Holy Spirit. If it wasn't for that, man, I don't know how people make it today. This is why we have a freaking suicide epidemic. Yeah, depression, everyone. I mean, besides the fact that it's being, we're having these chemicals, depressant chemicals sprayed on us. Anyway, all right. Yeah, payment system that uses hands as ID. Remember, we were told a while back to watch, not Amazon, but Walmart had these devices up at the counters. I guess more or less where the prescription counter was, some kind of thing where you were to put your hand in, but they weren't using them. I think maybe they found a use for them now. All right, so a couple more things in the news, and I'll let you go. And we were talking about that volcanic eruption. Okay, remember that one? It was in 1815. At least this is what Natural News right here is coming up with. I thought it was later, But apparently this volcano eruption in 1815 blocked the sun for a full year, causing global crop failures and famine. And it could happen again. I don't get why it's not happening. You want to talk about divine intervention? You tell me how all these volcanoes can be going off and erupting and new ones coming up and erupting and we're not starving. Yes, we know that the weather's changing, but this was one volcano in 1815. Yeah, we weren't technologically advanced as we are now back then, obviously, which could help us a lot this time. But I do not understand how all these volcanoes go off and we don't have more, even more severe growing problems. The only growing problems we have right now that I can see is the flooding. And why are we having all the flooding all of a sudden? I would say all of a sudden, past couple of years, building up more and more and more. And what is the flood doing? What are these floods doing? Besides saturating the ground and poisoning our drinking water, it's killing our crops. It's drowning the crops that we got in the ground, and it's preventing any more crops to be put in the ground. At least here in the United States, I don't know how it's going on around the world, but I know they're being flooded out too. How are they going to feed everybody? Be aware of that one, because I'm sure that they've got something planned. One volcano in 1815, and we have numerous ones going off right now, and more almost every week. I guess there was, I don't know much about it. Riverside County news source, massive gas station fire, tire explosions rocked Riverside. I was just in the process of collecting the news at this time, so if it doesn't, match the narrative, then that's why. But there was, I guess it was yesterday. Industrial section in Riverside was destroyed after an enormous blaze ripped through the building early this morning on Tuesday, September 3rd. Firefighters spent about 2 hours knocking down the fire, which erupted at a Flyers Energy CFN fuel station on the 3000 block of East LA Cadena Drive near First Street. San Jose's man, 46, ID'd after the fire era. Man arrested for lewd acts. Oh, that's just other stories. Yeah, I read this story. Man arrested for lewd acts at the Menifee Shopping Center. Yeah, you're going to see a lot more of this craziness, and I swear, I'm going to report. Give you at least 2 stories, and I do have them of people just being whacked out. Really, things that do not make sense, except that it's just got to be demonic. I mean, this guy is just running around. I guess he was chased these women or these girls to a car and was running around the car asking them to perform sexual acts or having sex with them. That's what that one was about. I don't really call that news. Anyway. Hong Kong leader, this is important. So Hong Kong leader withdraws this controversial extradition bill after months of protest. That's good news. Now maybe they can all get back to normal and just keep going the way they've been going. Except for that bridge, supposedly, that China built to Hong Kong. Or was it Taiwan? I have to get that straight. Somebody built the bridge. I guess Hong Kong is... Okay. I'm trying to think while I'm talking, and that doesn't bode very well. So Hong Kong, I always thought that was in China. got Tokyo in Japan, Hong Kong in China, but apparently it might be just an island, Hong Kong, off the coast of China. I know Taiwan is further down, and China claims them. Somebody built the bridge either to Hong Kong or China or Taiwan, and they were all worried about the influx of military coming across the bridge. I'd say to them, well, heck with the bridge then, just blow it up. You don't want an invading army coming down that bridge. No, you don't. Anyway, I'll leave that to them. Yeah, Iran is building a new military base in Syria to strike Israel with precision-guided missiles, which they do have. Yeah, they're just trying to get themselves closer. They say they can hit Tel Aviv now, and Israel is going to strike, and these are the things that we need people look for. I mean, Israel is still, and I don't blame them because they're just trying to protect their own lives. They've got to go and bomb the Iranians wherever, because the Iranians have basically moved into Iraq, Iran, Syria. They've moved themselves into these places, and now Israel has to take care of that. They're trying to get a proxy war started, with these other nations against it. Whatever. It's just a real mess over there. So if somebody comes up with some kind of peace plan that stops it all, I think we would all stop and listen to that one, wouldn't we? For many reasons, when they get across the table, and they tell lies, they come up with some complete peace plan, and next thing you know, sudden destruction. So this was actually on mainstream. These are the last two articles. These are the stupid, funny things that are going on in this world, and much more of it. But this was actually on mainstream media today. It was on Rush Limbaugh show that I listened to at lunchtime. This vegan, okay, doesn't want to have anything to do with meat. This vegan takes neighbors to court over the smells from their barbecue. Yep, that's a first. Maybe. First I ever heard of it. So this vegan is considering further legal action after the Supreme Court of Western Australia rejected her complaints against her neighbors' barbecues. I guess they had a bunch of neighbors getting together to have a barbecue. And she was offended. The smell of it, cooking meat, disgusted her. She could shut her doors and windows, or anyway, Scylla Carden from Perth says that she cannot enjoy a quiet suburban life in the comfort of her own back garden without being assaulted by the fumes from the barbecue of her meat-eating neighbors. So, Cargan's case seemingly went up in smoke earlier this year after she claims her claims were rejected by a tribunal based on a lack of evidence. Yeah, how do you bring smell into the courtroom, huh? I guess you could. You could actually, collect it in a jar and then put the cover on it. And of course, it'll be a one-time deal. Once you open it, the evidence is gone, right? Anyways, so ridiculous. But this is, this is where we live. Anyways, so many things that I've heard today that I just do not put out there for you. You really don't want to hear them. I try to tell you everything. There's some things I've told you, and I'm not going to repeat some of them because they're just too vile. But you should know all these things because I've told you, and it's out there. Yeah, so here's another one. This is the last one here. This electric scooter DUI. This video. This girl gets locked up. for being drunk riding a scooter. And the only reason she got pulled over is because she was driving unsafe on the other side of the road against traffic. And the policeman had made a statement that he was only looking out for her interest. But anyway, I'm going to give you, I don't know, 2 minutes of this. It's a 24-minute clip. I don't know. Anyways, I only went about 2 minutes. You do what you want.
No, look at me in the eyes and tell me. I cannot fucking fathom this. I'm riding a scooter.
Oh, and I'm sorry. Yes, we live in a world where people just, cuss and swear all the time. You can't get away from it. And I apologize that it's in here, but like I said, you're not going to get away with it. Not if you want to hear the true news. Just saying, I hear it all day, so, I mean, it does offend me a little bit, but I know where it's coming from.
Because I don't want to drive drunk, and you're going to give me a sobriety test?
Absolutely.
Here I go.
Okay.
I just find you so ridiculous right now. Like, why are you doing this to me?
Yeah, Olivia,
Dude, I had
I'm
2
applying
beers.
in Mexico too, and I'm
So
not going to
what's the other
argue
option?
with you.
Go to jail?
Well, if you don't want to do them, then I'm being forced to place you under arrest. Absolutely, yes. Okay?
So if you don't do the sobriety test, you go to jail. Now, here in Connecticut, last time I knew, and it was years ago, actually, 30 years ago, I had a problem. But anyways, last time I heard anything about it, it was the first time, if you refuse it, you get your license taken away automatically. And I don't remember exactly how long it is, but it's too long. Anywhere from 30 to 90 to 1 year. Okay, 30 days, 90 days, or 1 year. Automatically if you refuse to do the test. So, any case.
Okay.
Have a seat.
Dude, he's a fucking
Have a
dickhead.
seat.
Come get me out. Where is that?
4th and Roma.
4th and Roma.
Yes, 4th and Roma.
Wow, he's such a douchebag.
I don't know what to do with the scooter.
Me to jail, because I'm a fucking criminal for riding a fucking scooter down the road one way. Oh my god. You're the stupidest person ever.
You're the one going down the wrong way on the roadway.
Okay.
See, there's the thing. I mean, yeah, it does look ridiculous, being arrested for riding a scooter, but these are the laws that your Democrats and Republicans and Congress pass for you. Because I'm sure that, Pelosi is not going to be riding down the street after drinking 2 beers, which didn't make a difference, but she was, driving on the wrong side of the street. You think that she would be arrested? Anyways, the law was that she was driving on the wrong side of the street, and it just makes sense. Sometimes it does. I mean, I would like to see the traffic coming rather than the traffic hitting me from the backside. Because here also you're supposed to be going with the flow of traffic. But it doesn't make any sense. Sometimes. I mean, unless you got to cross intersections, it seems kind of chaotic. But most time, I mean, you're scared to death that you're going to get hit by a car, and who knows? You're not looking. So you got to kind of look back all the time while you're riding forward. Anyways, you try not to ride on the darn streets anyway. Stay in the sidewalks. And anyway, so she's going to jail. Don't know why. I guess she broke that law. I mean, 2 beers, she must have had more than 2 beers if she's being taken away and being arrested. You're only going to be arrested for the DUI, and that's what they say right here, DUI. It's not for driving down the wrong side of the road. She probably would have got a ticket for that. Any case, that's it, folks. Wednesday, hump day. Okay, we got over the hump. And still shaking my head. Isn't there something called Shaking My Head Productions? Yeah, I think there is. Now I can understand it. So with that, everyone, I will be back Friday, hopefully. Just keep your wits about you. keep praying, keep striving to, you know, go forward and step out of this world. Please step out of the world. I know it keeps bringing you back, but you got to keep stepping back out. My only problem right now is the darn TV. Yep. Anyways, take care of your family. Know where your loved ones are. Know how to get in touch with them in a minute, in a second. Get phone calls. Tell them to call you when they've gone somewhere. I do, or else I do worry. My wife goes somewhere and she's supposed to call me. She doesn't call me. Anyway, you know how it goes. Anyway, so that's it for now. Still crazy out there, and we are still looking up. Maranatha, everyone, and peace out.